Hello everybody and welcome into the Asphalt Outlaws Xfinity Series, live tonight with the first race of the season. A little bit of preseason action, if you will. It is the Clash at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Thank you all so much for tuning in. You are watching Austin Green on PGR eSports. Well, qualifying is wrapped up. Drivers are down trackside, so without any further ado, let's head right down and get into it. Joey Hickox, he will take the pole here tonight, puts down a 31.891. Kenneth Redinger to the outside. He'll roll off second here tonight with Jonathan Herbert back in third. Bill Hales to his outside in fourth, and then Mark Beverly rounds out your top five. Roger Strickland will start from the sixth spot here tonight. Jay Stinson will roll from seventh. David Traylor, last season's champion, in eighth. Keith Prince back in ninth, and it's Kevin Winker, the birthday boy, here tonight, rounding out your top 10. Jesse Calloway and Justin Parham back in row number 6. In row 7, it's Michael Miller alongside Charles Van. Haas Beverly in 15th with Clinton Woodby in 16th. And then you've got Joe Yates back in 17th, Eric Hegdahl in 18th, Matthew Fritz 19th, and Evan Schilling rounding out your top 20. Brody Benty in the 25 starts 21st with Jonathan Dominics, the Canadian driver of the field here tonight. In the 94, he will start 22nd. Dennis Steele back to the 23rd spot with Jesse Wise to his outside in 24th. Lance Thompson back in 25th. Colton Hardy in 26th. John Shileno, good to see him back this season. He'll roll off 27th with Thomas Melnick in 28th. And Andrew Hansley rounding out the field tonight. He starts in 29th. Taking a look at your race info. Again, a little bit of preseason action with the Clash here tonight. We are in the Xfinity cars. That was one of the big changes this season, along with race length, which of course won't really come into play until next next week, if you will, once we work our way over to Daytona. Here tonight, though, just a quick shootout, 30 laps, 100% fuel, 4 sets of tires sitting in the pits, 1 faster pair of fixed setups as always, and then 3 green-white checkers if we were to need it. You can see their track temp around Atlanta Motor Speedway, 91 degrees. This is a mile and a half that races like a super speedway. High banking in the corners and a lot of pushing and shoving down the straightaways. 70 degrees outside, 31% humidity. Clear skies and winds at 4 miles an hour. They will not play a factor. Well, I'll tell you what, I know these guys are excited to be back. I certainly am as well. I'm excited to see everybody back. I hope that you're all having a good Friday night, and if there's anything that you see that's amiss on the broadcast, please let me know. Still getting some things sorted out for these guys before, of course, we officially kick off the season next week at Daytona. So here tonight, it's a matter of who can take home that $35, which will be awarded to the winner of the race. And there's a lot of drivers that can certainly throw their name into the mix. And already up front, you got 2 of the best when it comes to super speedway racing, and Joey Hickox and Kenneth Redinger. All right, well, here we go. For the first time this season, green flag is in the air. We're underway at Atlanta. Lap 1 is complete, and it goes to the 31 of Hickox. Oh, he's out of shape, though. Joey gets down to the apron. Is he going to be able to keep it down there? Oh, they're wrecking up front. We got big trouble here. This is not going to be pretty, as the first caution of the night is a big one. Oh, my goodness. We've got one upside down, and they are still wrecking. That collected about the whole field. Man. I don't think anybody had this in the playbook this early, and it's a good thing that they've got that one fast spare, because I can see quite a few drivers that are going to need it. See the big damage here to Keith Prince. Lance Thompson, he's beat up pretty good as well. Justin Parham's got no front end either. And man, that went south in a hurry. And I mean, what do you even say? I mean, first thing is we got to go back and look at this, as it's going to be the 31 of Joey Hickox. You see actually a couple of drivers that run in the NOMA series, running NOMA schemes here so far, at least tonight. I don't know if they'll keep those this season, but let's back this all the way up to where things start. And in fact, I don't know if Joey actually ever gets in this accident, but certainly seems like he might have been the spark of it, at least to what led to the checkups behind it, as this was kind of as they're working their way off of the quad oval. And 31, does he just get loose here? Does he get some help? Trying to watch out back, see if there's any. I don't see any. It just looks like something goes wrong here for Joey Hickox. I'm not sure what it is, but, I mean, it's just an odd spot. I don't know if I've ever seen somebody get loose quite like that right there. As right here, he's going to make a little bit of a turn and then just starts going on him. He goes down on the apron. He saves it. But then up front, we had another car in the same issue that's going to lose it, and I think that was Jonathan Herbert. Indeed, it was. And then once he starts to get sideways, I mean, it's just on from there, and they start to just pile in here. 54, David Traylor, nowhere to go. There's the big hit that actually gets Justin Parham almost up and over, as he rode kind of upside down, if you will, along that safer barrier. Now let's go back here, and I think we need to ride on board with a couple of drivers, because, again, I've certainly never seen something quite like this, the way those cars kind of snapped loose. And first view that we're going to take here is going to be for Joey Hickox, of course, the first driver that got himself sideways. And for Joey Hickox, doesn't work out too bad for him here in the sense of if he misses this wreck. But let's see what shoots him out of line first off here. So he's going down the quad oval. He comes out of it. It just gets loose. It just gets loose on him. And this is so interesting because I broadcasted a race here at this track last night in the same car where the track temp was almost 140 degrees Fahrenheit. That's a hot track temp. What we have here tonight, it really isn't. So I'm just really shocked, first of all, to see this much trouble, but man, just to see the magnitude of that incident and how many drivers it took out. The other onboard view I want to go to here is Jonathan Herbert, the other driver that gets loose, as, oh, he got doored. Well, that explains what got the 87 out of shape. He got some help here as they got down into the turn. Watch Oh, man, that's just two guys racing hard into the corner of the 20. I'm not sure if... I think that's Kenneth Redinger, but I'm not sure if... Does he just... Let's see here. They're just both fighting for the same piece of real estate. The 87 maybe entering the corner a little bit high, but then, man, as I said, when they start wrecking here, this gets massive. Look at the cars this one collects here. As they're just all piling up out back. Everybody's trying to miss it, but nobody really able to find the way through. You either lock the brakes or you try to shoot through a gap, and it looked like a lot of drivers tried to shoot through a gap that a lot of them certainly seem to close up. And so a lot of damage here early. That's going to lead to quite a few fast repairs, but as we get ready to go back green, 5 of 30 complete. Bill Hales now leads the way. We know how good he is at super speedways. We'll see what he can do here tonight. Clinton Woodby in second, up 14 from where he started after that wreck. Dennis Steele rounds out the podium right now. Jesse Wise in fourth. And then Colton Hardy, who currently sits in fifth. By the way, he is one of our drivers that is carrying an onboard camera for us here tonight. And boy, Colton really started to come to life and kind of find his way towards the end of last season. He's going to be looking to build off of that here tonight with a good start. I know it's preseason, but I say it a lot, and I'll say it again. It is never too early to start building some momentum. So we'll see what happens. So here we go. Field going to be back in the hands now of Bill Hales as the pace truck will make the left turn. We'll see if we can click off a couple of green flag laps. Again, we're not going to see a pit stop either way, whether we go green or not, but green flag back in the air. 6 laps now complete as the 53 rockets back up to speed. He'll get clear and by plenty. And so for Bill Hales right here, he's going to try to settle in. Question is, what lane does he prefer? Meanwhile, a little bit further back, you notice right here the 77 of Michael Miller. It is one of the new drivers this season, making his first start tonight, and he's got a fair amount of damage on the rear of that race car. I'm not sure how well that's going to perform in the draft. As you can see, a couple of drivers already trying to bail to the high side. They want no part of it. Evan Schilling, one of those drivers in the 18 that jumps up just in front of him. That's Eric Hegdahl running a little bit of a different paint scheme than what we saw on his truck last season. Driver out of Travelers Rest, South Carolina. You see it there, the Asphalt Outlaws Racing Season 2 champion. As this is his 4th year racing. And so as we turn our attention a little bit further back towards the front, Bill Hales still continues to lead the way, and they have single-filed it out a little bit up front as most of the 2x2 action is further towards the middle portions of the pack. We'll see how long this lasts, as I would say with 24 to go, that's enough time to maybe start to wear these tires in a little bit, but it's not going to be enough to where I think you can sit and afford to save and be conservative right now, especially with a track temp that's, again, really not that hot, and therefore not going to have as much tire wear. Into turn 1 they go. That high side gives you more momentum if you can hold it up there through the corner. Problem is, if there's no help, who's going to push you down the straights? Right now you can see Hegdahl, he's starting to get lined up here a little bit. Jesse Wise has now made his way back to the front in that 69 car. Hegdahl's going to choose to head back down to the inside as Dennis Steele in the 28 trying to keep it up top. And I think one thing that maybe this outside will try to do, especially as we continue to click off laps, is maybe try to squeeze this inside line down, see if they can kind of prevent them from being able to set sail in the corner. Because again, if you're on that inside, the whole point of, or I guess I should say the general advantage, is that you're taking the shorter way around the racetrack. The outside always tends to carry a bit more momentum down the straightaway, assuming that they have a couple of pushers lined up. But the 69, he's been able to tandem up here with the 28, who maybe not that time. Dennis Steele gets out of the groove. He has to save it as he comes back down. And that gets him and Jesse Wise a little bit of separation, and it's going to hurt that line. Is now Hegdahl. He's looking to jump up here, but he might have just got himself hung in the middle. And no, he doesn't. Looks like the 4 of Jesse Calloway is going to allow him to sneak up. Just behind him, look at all those different Noma-colored cars right now. That's Kenneth Redinger alongside Joey Hickox. Justin Parham's in there, and even Matthew Fritz, he's made his way towards the front of the field now as well. And they are still 2x2. Nobody has tried to get a third lane working just yet. Further back, this is a look at the 55 of Mark Beverly. He runs alongside the 2 of Jay Stinson. And by the way, I think some of these drivers are the ones that are just trying to maybe sit back, take it easy right now. There's Jonathan Herbert, although that car's still got a pretty significant amount of damage. Doesn't look like he has taken that fast repair just yet. 20 laps now to go, and again, they're going to go by quick here. We've already clicked off 10, and going to be clicking off 10 more here in just a short while. I mean, the lap times around here are only about 30 seconds a lap, and when you're door-to-door, side-by-side each lap, again, it makes them go by that much quicker. But while we have a chance, do want to point out and kind of give a shout-out, if you will, to a couple of the other drivers that we have carrying on board for us here tonight. David Traylor, the 54, is one of them, as one on the apron there. It's a big save. Can he hold on to it? That's the 25. And man, that was really close. I think that was one of the lead lap cars. Yes, it was Brody Benty. And Brody does hold on. So we turn our attention back to David Traylor, who again is not currently on the lead lap. He's going to need a caution here if he wants a chance to get back on it. And then the birthday man, who we talked about at the start of the broadcast, he is on the lead lap, and that is the 16th place car of Kevin Winker. Kevin looking to see if he can, and you know, it's kind of interesting to see him towards the back right now, because anytime that we went to a super speedway last season, whether he won or not, he was always one of the most aggressive pushers. He loved leading. But here tonight, he's still sitting pretty comfortably behind this pack. Maybe feels like we're going to see another incident or repeat, if you will, of what we saw on lap 3. And so he's decided to take it easy for now. Bill Hales is liking all that because he continues to lead up front. Hasn't really had to worry about working these lanes too much, as he's been pretty content with riding on the inside of the racetrack. Clinton Woodby doing a lot of pushing. New colors for him as well, as again, he sits currently second on that bottom lane. Dennis Steele on the outside in the 28. He's got some help here. In fact, there's 4 cars up there as they're coming up on a lapper. Oh, caution is out here. Trouble further back. Ooh, trouble for Lance Thompson, Roger Strickland. Was that John Shileno in it? No, it wasn't. I thought I saw maybe one more. Yes, I did. That was the 2. No, that's not the 2. Excuse me. In fact, I'm not sure exactly who this was. Again, we got a lot of new paint schemes. It's not Roger Strickland. It's not Lance Thompson. So it must have been one of the cars towards the end of the lead lap here. As that's who it is. It's Charles Van Schaik. And for Charles here, I don't see a ton of damage, although you can see the left side certainly has a couple of scrapes. A couple of battle scars, if you will. Let's go back and see what happens with this one. To bring out your second caution here of the night, is they had been racing in a group back here, and something clearly went wrong, and ooh, that's going to start with one of the Noma drivers again. Boy, it's been a rough night. As I think that's the 19 of Parham again. Yes, it is. Man, that's 2 incidents where he gets the worst end of the stick. When really he was just kind of an innocent bystander in the first one, and then this one as well. Watch the 19 here. We're going to back this up and go to the chopper view as they work down the front straightaway. Again, kind of off that quad oval as things start to tighten up. See the 4 Jesse Calloway starts to come off the wall a little bit, but they don't make contact. In fact, there's a little bit of netcode between those 2 cars where iRacing thinks they're making contact, but they never actually hit. Unfortunately, though, that does send the 19 down onto the apron, and he's on the flat part. He's trying to check up, and unfortunately, he slides back up. The 23 of Charles Van Schaik does a phenomenal job of also checking up to make sure he doesn't run into the back of Parham. Unfortunately, though, you got the 55 running just behind here. Mark Beverly not quite able to check up. And tags the back to 23, sends him around, back up the racetrack he goes, and then, oh man, for Jonathan Herbert, that's a pretty big impact as he also had nowhere to go. Give you a couple more looks at this here. One from TV2. Watch as this car slides back up the racetrack. Winker, man, just barely sneaks by, but then the 87 of Jonathan Herbert, he is not so lucky. That is a huge hit to the front of that race car, and you can see it rips the front end off. Now, I don't know if he still has that fast repair. I remember when we checked back, it looked like that 87 was still struggling. So you wonder if maybe he did keep it in his back pocket. If he did, certainly looking like a pretty good call now because he's going to need it. Again, after this incident right here, brings out the second caution of the night. Give you one more look at it here. I want to go to the onboard view for Jonathan Herbert. I know we looked at him through that first wreck where he had the big contact, but then in this one, this is just going to be a case for him of he's not able to slow down in time. And here at Atlanta, it's a little bit different than Daytona and Talladega. Now, I see how far he is behind. He sees him slide up, and well, he stays in the throttle, and he gets on the brakes. Unfortunately, though, just can't check up enough. And I think the reason he had stayed on the throttle for so long initially was because he wasn't sure if they were going to stay down and we were going to stay green. And if that would have been the case, he needed to try to stick with the leaders, but it doesn't work out for him this time. All right, so back up front, 14 laps to go. Going to be 13 when we grab the restart right here. And it looks like it is Bill Hales still being scored as your leader. Clinton Woodby in second. Dennis Steele back in third. Jesse Wise in fourth. Colton Hardy currently rounds out your top 5. Well, again, I want to say thank you to everybody that is tuning in here tonight. Hope to see a lot of you through most of the season, as I know drivers have a tendency to kind of fade as we get into the later portions of the season. So it's a big opportunity for everybody early on. Try to get a win, get that win out of the way. Help get yourself closer and closer towards getting locked in as we approach the playoffs. And mind you, it's a pretty long season. If we get another caution, I'll make sure that I talk briefly about what the schedule's looking like. But, I mean, I believe it goes all the way into March. So these guys are going to be racing for quite a bit of weeks, and that's a lot of opportunity at a variety of tracks, everything from 1.5 miles to super speedways and just about anything in between. And, you know, if you're a guy like Bill Hales, who we know loves super speedways, even a Clinton Woodby, who knows he can get it done on plenty of tracks, not just exclusively super speedways, try to go out there, get a win tonight. Get some momentum going for next week at Daytona, as that race is kind of the one that everybody's got their eye on. It's just as important as the championship to a degree, is winning that season opener at Daytona. All right, well, here we go. Pace car rolls off. Back into the Geico restart zone we go. Green flag is back in the air. 13 laps to go at Atlanta. Good restart for the front row. Looks like they're going to quickly single file out up front. Bill Hills takes the lead, and Clinton Woodby is going to shuffle into second just behind Dennis Steele. He was also able to get singled out as they stay 2 by 2 further back. 3 of the NOMA teammates right now lined up. The 20 of Redinger, the 27 trying to make something happen as well. That's Matthew Fritz. And then Joey Hickox third in that line. Jesse Wise, though, is going to not be able to hold that lead for long. Zoe gets up into the wall. I was just getting ready to say he had a couple other cars jump up in front of him. That's going to take the air off the nose of that 69, as now Bill Hales under fire here for the first time tonight since he's taken the lead. Clinton Woodby is looking to see if he can take over down into turn number 1. He is getting pushed right now by the 97 of Colton Hardy. Colton, he's been up in the top 5 for quite a bit of tonight after that first incident. As we ride on board with him here, we're going to hop on board as well inside the virtual cockpit and show you just kind of how he tries to set it up here. Again, you cannot push in the corners here. It's not going to work. Maybe in the first turn on a restart, but that would be it. You try to push in the corner in these cars, it's going to cause a wreck. So he tries to line him up and push him as soon as he can once they exit the corner, and the car is able to kind of unload and gets back on the flat. And then as they get into the corner, he sends him off, tries to set up, and then as they get onto the back, this is where you really make a lot of headway if you're on that outside line, is you've got to try to get locked up the second that you get onto the backstretch. He wasn't quite able to do it that time. You see he's able to get closer towards even, but he's not going to be able to do much more. And each lap that goes by, that outside becomes tougher and tougher to maintain unless they can find a way to kind of pin this inside lane down on the apron. Nothing doing yet as we take officially 10 laps to go. $35 on the line. Who's going to be the winner of the clash here tonight? Bill Hales still doing all he can on the bottom. Looks very comfortable up top. The 97 maybe looking for a little bit more help. Eric Hegdahl sits behind him, but has just not been able to get there as of yet. By the way, you've got 4 Toyotas up top and then a mix of Chevys and Mustangs on the bottom. Dennis Steele, he's going to maybe think about making a move here towards the end if he can find a way to get himself clear. Nobody has dared to jump up to this third lane just yet. Again, at a certain point, you almost feel like somebody's got to give it a shot, but right now they remain 2 by 2 all the way through the entirety of the field, as actually they single file out a little bit once you get towards the back. That's a look at Roger Strickland. John Shilino, who still has the Sonic Graphic design colors on that 33 Chevy Camaro. He sits behind a 55 of Mark Beverly. Kevin Winker's back there as well, as is the 94. All drivers that are hoping for a caution here with just 9 laps to go. Make it 8 as they cross the line this time. And I know it's a ways away, but we have got to get to the white flag before this race is official. And with the way they're racing up front, a caution is still very, very possible, as Bill Hales might lose the lead right here. Looked like Woodby was all but clear through the middle 1 and 2. He didn't take it, and now he's looking for another big push from Colton Hardy, and he's going to get clear again. Oh, man, I really think if you're Woodby, you needed to take that right there, but I think he feels like this top lane is better right now. As he continues to stay up, Colton Hardy will continue to push. Eric Hegdahl in the 11, third in line, the 27 of Matthew Fritz just behind him. It's a 4-on-4 tandem at the front of the field. Further back, again, nobody has dared to try to get that third lane going just yet. The 77, who we remember had rear damage earlier, looks like he has since got that fixed. Michael Miller, does he maybe be the first driver to jump out of line? Gotta wonder here. I almost think he'd be one of the veterans of maybe not just this series, but one of the veterans we see across a couple of the series, maybe such as one of the NOMA drivers, maybe even Eric Hegdahl is the first driver to try to jump out of line. It's just kind of that waiting game of when do you go. Joe Yates, he's going to turn the dial up a little bit as now he makes a move to the top of the racetrack. And he'll slide in line as they're going to wreck out back. Trouble, we've got one around. That's the 69 of Jesse Wise. He locks it down. And we've got more trouble just a couple spots ahead here, as 2 drivers that are going to lock it down. Charles, I believe that was Charles Van Schaik. Yes, it was. As the smoke clears, the other one is David Traylor in the 54. So they're both going to get away unscathed. Well, Actually, yeah, it looks like they do. For a minute, I thought that was damage on the front of David Traylor's car, but I believe that's just part of the paint scheme. Indeed, it is. The J.C. Newman Cigar Company, new sponsor for him this season. All right, so let's go back here and take a look at this. Was kind of two separate incidents, and the first one was what actually brought out the caution, and then the second one was kind of, I don't want to say insult to injury because both drivers got away from it, but here we go. Watch Jesse Wise here in the 69 is back that up for you a little bit more again, and we'll go to the chopper view as they get into turn 1 and 2. Ooh, oh man, that's a tough break right there, as that was the 3 of Keith Prince who gets into the wall going into turn 1. And again, there's not really a cushion here, but if you get too far up the racetrack as fast as you're going into the corner, it's very easy to get in a little bit of those marbles and tag the outside wall. And for Prince, I mean, that's the only thing that it really looks to me like could have happened here, unless there was any form of netcode, but it doesn't really look like it. Either way, that car got tight somehow because it shoots straight up the track into the wall, and then, I mean, they didn't even touch yet. There was definitely some netcode there for the rear bumper contact for Jesse Wise, but you can see it rips the rear end off of Keith Prince, and then eventually the 69 gets his front end ripped off as well as he's sliding, trying to hold on to it. And there's the contact for Parham, and that's what led to the 69 getting the front end ripped off. Give you another look at this, and then kind of that secondary spin for Charles Van Schaik and David Traylor. So there's the first contact there, and ooh, Van Schaik's just trying to remerge back onto the racetrack, gets loose, loses it, and then David Traylor just really kind of had nowhere to go. But again, they were able to get kind of woed up before they got to the inside safer barrier. And I don't think that's much damage for either. Maybe just a 4X and a bit of a slap on the wrist in terms of the damage category. But for Jesse Wise, certainly a little bit more significant here, as this is probably going to unfortunately end his chances of fighting for a win here tonight. As whenever you get that front bumper and rear bumper, either one, much less both ripped off, it's a pretty long fix. If he's got his fast pair, he might be able to get out quick, but even the track position he lost at this rate, I think that's going to, again, probably end the chances for the 69. All right, let's give you one more look at this here from the TV static view. As there's the initial spin. That's Jesse Wise. Slides down the racetrack. And as we go back live now, back towards the front of the field, leading the way here with just 4 laps to go at Atlanta is the 92 of Clinton Woodby. 53 of Bill Hales to his outside. Colton Hardy in third, Dennis Steele fourth, and Eric Hegdahl currently rounding out your top 5. And it looks like it is going to be a 2-lap shootout. Not sure if it's going to be a natural green-white checkered or an overtime, but either way, the rules, same rules, are going to apply. We got to make it to the white flag for this race to be official. And if we don't, we'll rack them up and try it again. Who's your pick right here? Woodby has been really, really solid, as is Bill Hales, but Colton Hardy, again, looking to play spoiler here early in the season to try to build off of what he was able to get going at the end of last season. And a 2-lap shootout here is a lot shorter distance than a 2-lap shootout at, say, Daytona or Daytona or Talladega. So you got to really get going here. This isn't one of those tracks where you kind of wait a lap before you make a move, try to get everything charged up. This is going to be, if you feel like you've either got the grip or you've got the car to make it happen, you're looking 3 wide down into turn 1, maybe off of turn 2, and trying to get something going. And I'm telling you, we've seen pretty big stack-ups in these cars at this track before. So if you can get to that third lane, you might make up quite a bit of positions just simply from the checkups on the bottom 2 lanes. It's all a matter of who's going to be willing to risk it first, and can they all hold on to it for a 1.5 miles to make this race official, and then another 1.5 miles to determine who's going to be the winner of the Clash at Atlanta. Well, if you've been tuning in, we certainly appreciate it. And if you're just tuning in, you picked a good time to do it. All right, here we go. 2-lap shootout at the fastest 1.5 miles in all of stock car racing. Woodby on the inside, Bill Hales on the outside. Green flag is back in the air at Atlanta. And it's a good restart for Clinton Woodby. Bill Hales gets a pretty good one as well, but he's not going to be able to hang with your leaders. Colton Hardy trying to get clear. If the 97 gets a shot to move up, watch out because he very well might take it. Nothing doing yet. The 97 continues to stay low. Here comes a run back from the outside. Bill Hales is going to get a push from Dennis Steele. Colton Hardy thought about jumping to the top of the racetrack, but he's not going to do it into turn 3. Oh, that might have been Colton Hardy's only chance. Now he's going to have to settle in and be okay with being a pusher. Here we go. Are we going to make it? Yes, we are. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go at Atlanta. Still side by side as they work down into turn number 1 for the final time. Clinton Woodby is clear both rows. He's not going to make a move now. Dennis Steele gets loose. Out back, the 18 of Schilling has to save it. Bill Hales has absolutely no help right now on the top. They're going to wreck out back. Huge hit for the 18 is now more wreck out back. Final time into turn 3 does Colton Hardy have enough to push clear and make a move. He's going to get clear the 53. Watch for the 97 to jump up off of 4. Here they come. Checkered flag waving. Clinton Woodby's going to win the Clash at Atlanta. What a drive, what a win for the driver of the 92. Didn't take him long to return to victory lane as Colton Hardy brings home a second and Eric Hegdahl rounds out the podium. Man, what a race and what a finish. And Colton Hardy stuck with Clinton there, maybe looking for some brownie points for next week, because I don't know if he would do the same next week at Daytona with points on the line and how much a win can do for your season, but Clinton Woodby, you know, he's going to be pleased with that. He put in a great effort all night, had to do a lot of pushing, and then once he got the chance to take the lead, never really looked back from there, so he'll bring it around to celebrate. The 92 is going to get to do his first burnout, but most likely not the last of the season. Man, what a success. I mean, for the start of the season, I know we had a couple incidents, but everybody getting a feel for what to expect for this kind of racing, and certainly you got to expect for it to be good practice for next week. But right now, the moment belongs to Clinton Woodby as Colton Hardy there as well, who brought home the second place finish. So as they continue to burn it down and celebrate, let's take a look to your finishing results here on the night. Clinton Woodby again is your race winner. Colton Hardy in second, Eric Hegdahl third. Bill Hales finishes fourth, Matthew Fritz in fifth. Joe Yakes in sixth with Dennis Steele in seventh. Joey Hickox eighth, Haas Beverly in ninth, and David Traylor rounding out your top 10. Jonathan Dominics finishes 11th. Charles Van finishes in 12th. Mark Beverly 13th with Jesse Wise in 14th. Jonathan Herbert 15th. Brody Venti in 16th. Kenneth Redinger in 17th with Andrew Hansley finishing in 18th. Rounding out your top 20 tonight is Jesse Calloway and Roger Strickland. Kevin Winker finishes 21st. Michael Mueller 22nd. Evan Schilling in 23rd. Jay Stinson 24th. Keith Prince in 25th with John Shilino in 26th. Lance Thompson in 27th. And Justin Parham rounds out the field tonight. He finishes in 28th. Thomas Melnick in 29th. All right, we're going to go see if we can get your top 3 in here for interviews. Stick with us. We'll be right back at Atlanta. All right, going to start with your third place finisher first here tonight, and that is the number 11 of Eric Hegdahl. Eric, this is Austin in the booth. Get a copy. We'll give him just a moment here. In fact, we're going to go see if we can grab him again. Give me just a moment. All right, and we're going to go ahead and now try it again, starting with your third place finisher here tonight, Eric Hegdahl in the 11. Eric, this is Austin in the booth. Get a copy.
Yeah, man, I got you.
Well, you bring home a podium here. You're 1 for 1 on the season for podiums. And, man, overall, it was a short sprint, but you find a way to bring home a good run. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, I barely got home in time for it. I think I got logged in like right before qualifying, and qualified mid-pack, avoided the that lap 1, lap 2 crash, and at that point was able to get together with my teammates Clinton and Colton, and able to kind of try to control the race. And that last restart, that last lap, we all got cleared, or somewhat cleared, and going down the back, I know I had an opportunity to go high and work with Bill, maybe to push Bill, but felt like, yeah, either way, I didn't really have a chance at winning. So, I mean, might as well just, stay low and try to help one of the teammates win, and that's what happened.
Yeah, and it ends up paying off with a 1-2-3 finish for all you guys. And, Atlanta, kind of a bit of a hybrid between a 1.5 miles and a super speedway. Now, next week, we head to a genuine super speedway for the season opener. How are you feeling about your chances with the finish that you and your teammates had here tonight at Daytona?
Yeah, looking forward to next week. I'm not a big fan of the Atlanta Super Speedway, so happy to get to a real one next week. I think I won the season opener last season, so maybe I can try to go back to back. But if not, try to get one of our cars in victory lane.
Sounds like a plan. Well, hey, before we let you head out here tonight, Eric, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, shout out to you for coming back for another season. Looking forward to another great broadcast throughout the year. Shout out to the Beverleys for putting on a great league. I thought we have a new race control, Thomas. Shout out to him for coming on board, and looking forward to the season.
Absolutely. Well, again, thanks for talking to us tonight, Eric. Congrats on the third place finish, and we'll see you next week at Daytona.
All right. Thank you, buddy.
All right, now that's going to bring us to your second place finisher here tonight, Colton Hardy. Colton, this is all set up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, you bring home a second place finish, and man, the theme of you for this race, at least from my perspective, was how are you going to build off the momentum that you made at the end of last season? And boy, did you ever execute. You bring home second at the end there. We know that you guys were lined up 1, 2, 3. Was there ever a thought of trying to sneak by your teammate?
Never, not once. No, I'm happy. We were we got 1, 2, 3, got the podium. We were talking about it there on the restart. We were trying to coordinate our restart a little bit, and we got it coordinated good. And once we took off, and I didn't want to make a move on Woodby, and then he goes and tries to block it, and then we end up spinning and it cost us both positions. I'm not like that, and I'd rather just get into his behind and shove him as fast as I can. So that was the plan coming off of 4. I wasn't going to make a move on him. I just stayed glued to him.
Yeah, and it worked out well. And I think the big question now for most drivers is what to expect next week. A bigger super speedway, similar racing. And how do you plan on working with your team next week? Is it the same, or since it's a little bit of a bigger race, is there more of a kind of an individual effort towards the end?
Towards the end, I feel like it'd be every man for himself. It's not so much an exhibition race. There's actual points on the line there. So the next week definitely means a lot more in matter of aggression. But I wouldn't make a move that would take my teammate out of competition like that. I'm just not that kind of guy. If I don't have a chance, I don't think I have the momentum, I'm not going to try it. And I don't want to put somebody in that position, because I would expect the same respect back towards me.
Absolutely. Well, hey, you had a great run here tonight. You've already got yourself a podium on the season. So before we let you head out, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, all my teammates there, Eric Hegdahl, David Traylor, Clinton, and Dylan. Dylan didn't make the race tonight. We worked so well together, and tonight just really showed that off. And the winning bid, Blair Peterson, check them out for all the Diecast sales and NASCAR card breaks. They'll hook you up with some great deals. But other than that, everybody who watches, everybody who supports the league, and everybody who sponsors us and takes the time out of their nights to watch.
Thank you, of course, for talking to us again, Colton. Congrats on the second place finish, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Austin. Great job tonight.
All right, and now that's going to bring us to your race winner, Clinton Woodby. Clinton, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, bud.
Well, so far you're now 1 for 1 on the season in the wins category, and I mean, man, you did a little bit of everything here tonight, but at the end you were able to hold them all off for the win. How'd you do it?
I think I just made all my passing, or at least 99% of it, in that first crash. I feel like I passed 14 cars there. I don't know. It was wild.
Yeah, it certainly was. And, one of the big changes this season was the car. Of course, last season we were in the trucks. This season we're in the Xfinity car. Was it a different step here tonight? I mean, did you learn a lot? Kind of how was it from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, tire wear is usually pretty bad in these cars. I don't know what the track temp was at tonight. I never really looked, but it didn't seem too bad. But we were all talking throughout the race and saying we might as well just be riding behind Bill and save all of our tire, because there's no point in running as fast as we can right now. It's only a 30-lap race. We didn't really plan on pitting, so just kind of tried to save as much as we could to have it there at the end, which we did when we were up at the high side. I thought we were going to finish it out like that, but I guess we finished it out a better way.
Yeah, certainly did, with a 1-2-3 finish. Well, hey, before we let you head out here tonight to go celebrate and get ready for next week, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, shout out to my girlfriend Megan. She's my #1 supporter. Blair with Winning Bid Diecast. Can't thank him enough. He's always supported me since I just randomly asked him to be a sponsor one day. And random paint scheme, but I'll throw Old Trapper a shout out. Good beef jerky. Go get you some.
All right. Well, thank you for talking to us tonight, Clinton. And again, congrats on the win. Looking forward to seeing you next week at Daytona.
Yep, appreciate it. Thanks for the broadcast.
All right. Well, that's just about going to wrap things up here tonight. And Boy, what a race it was, and what a look into the season that we have ahead of us. The Xfinity car already showing that it's going to make the racing a whole heck of a lot better, as these things are going to be a lot harder to hang on to, especially with tracks that shred up tires. But next week, it's the big bad 2.5 mile super speedway, Daytona International Speedway. Make sure you tune in. It's going to be a good one. As for tonight, that's it for me, Austin Green, here on PGR eSports. I hope you all enjoyed, and until next time, have a good night.